You are listening to WTUZ Radio Podcast. Welcome to WTUZ Radio Podcast. I am your host, Rhonda, and today we are doing part 4 on our series, Old World Tech Hidden in Plain Sight. If you have not joined us for this series, I would highly recommend you check out the other episodes. I will put an information link embedded in the video for you to do so. This particular series, we are literally going over technology that was used in the past that they are now starting to introduce, and also technology that hasn't been introduced yet that we had in the past. I'm really enjoying this series. What inspired me was a site from and I'll put this link in the description. Excellent work by this gentleman. It's called teslasresearch.gem. Do free. teslasresearch.gem. Do free. He is doing some excellent work. He is literally going over all of Nikola Tesla's information and not information, his inventions. He's going over all of Tesla's inventions and giving us the breakdown of how they work. So I highly recommend you all check it out. And that's especially for those that are into stuff like that. I think that you would pretty much enjoy it. All right, so with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. And okay, I know I'm missing some pics, but I'll pause when I get to that point. Okay, so let me use a little technology, and when it is time to get to the other pictures I need, we'll get to that point. Okay, so today's topic on this series, this is part 4, we are going to go over radiant energy, all right? And again, this is from the source teslaresearch.gemdofree.com. All right, so this is just fascinating to me. Once I read through it, I'm like, wow, it's so much information in here. So let's just go through it, and I'll stop and give my 2 cents on what the things that this is reminding me of. All right. The patent refers to, so this is Tesla's radiant energy. The patent refers to the sun, as well as other sources of radiant energy, like cosmic rays, that the device works at night and explained in terms of the nighttime availability of cosmic rays. Tesla also refers to the ground as a vast reservoir of electricity of negative charge. Tesla was fascinated by radiant energy and its free energy possibilities. He called the Crookes radiometer a device which has vanes that spin in a vacuum when exposed to radiant energy, a beautiful invention. He believed that it would become possible to harness energy directly by connecting to the very will work of nature. Okay. On his 76th birthday, at his yearly ritual press conference, Tesla announced a cosmic ray motor. When asked if it was more powerful than Crookes' radiometer, he answered thousands of times more powerful. In 1901, Nikola Tesla was one of the first to identify radiant energy. I'll read a little more before I go over what hit me. Like, whoa, that's what they're really using. But I'll read a little more. Tesla says that the source of this energy is our sun. He concluded that the sun emits small particles, each carrying so small of a charge that they move with great velocity, exceeding that of light. Tesla further states that these particles are the neutron particles. Tesla believed that these neutron particles were responsible for all radioactive reactions. Radiant matter is in tune with these neutron particles. Radiant matter is simply a retransmission of energy from one state to another. All right, so before we go on, two things I want to bring into play. And the first thing is Tesla says that the source of this energy is our sun. Okay, so I'm going to go back over what the sun really is. So those that rock with me, y'all going to be so tired of y'all going to be so tired of seeing this stuff, but that's okay. You're going to know it. So we're going to go over that. But I am like a huge fan of architecture. Specifically, I don't really care for the new stuff. It has to be really artsy and catch my mind. But I'm a huge fan of old architecture. So even as a little girl, growing up, we grew up in Chicago. My aunt lived on the east side of Chicago. She lived like right down the street from the Museum of Science and Industry. I would literally walk from her house to that Museum of Science and Industry. I would drag my brother and my younger cousin, come on, because back then, y'all, it was free to get in the museum. I absolutely loved that building. I loved all the buildings in that area, which they were all old world buildings, family. That Museum of Science and Industry, of course, as a little girl, I did not know that that was the remnants of the Chicago Columbian Exposition World Fair. To find that out over the past, 3 years, my mouth is just still dropping. I'm like, oh my God, I would literally walk to that like at least every 2 weeks. I would drag the younger cousins, come on, we're going to the museum. Because I thought it was the building. I always thought the building was so fascinating. And of course, the technology stuff that they had inside. I'm like, whatever. But I was really going to really look at the building. In that area, and just note, fam, that's not too far. That area is not too far also from the University of Chicago, right? Who's also holding a lot of this old world information, okay? If you walk that neighborhood on the east side in that area, which I have done as a little girl, I would just go sightseeing, walk in that area, you would see mansions, or some call them today mini mansions, built in that old world style. And it just always fascinated me, okay? And then I asked my aunt, I'm like, who lives in those old pretty houses? And so back then she said, well, doctors, lawyers, and professors. She said, but back when your grandmother and them were younger, that's where all of like the millionaire black folk live and celebrities. Okay. And she gave me some names, child, of folks who lived in certain places. And don't start me to line up upon who that is, because I don't want to lie upon a celebrity. But her point was well taken. Okay. So I did not realize that what I was looking at was old world technology. Okay. So that's my first point. Second point is, actually, I got 3 points. Second point is there is something called Earthship Homes. Earthship Homes. Okay. This gentleman, I forget his name. Please forgive me, but you can look it up online. You can look it up on YouTube. They have, excellent, great videos. And what those homes are, it is a total home that is sustainable by free energy. So that means your electricity, and the electricity, they're calling it thermal heating and cooling. But as I was going through this radiant energy, I'm like, wait a minute. They're really using the concept of radiant energy. Okay? So all of this stuff is just blowing my mind because the guy's last name is Reynolds. I can't think of dude's first name, who came up with this concept in the 70s. And what he was doing was taking, well, they were calling it garbage, and building these homes. So he was using the tires, like old tires, and stuffing the old tires with dirt or earth, pounding the tires as dirt with dirt, and using those tires as a base, a foundation and base for the walls. And then they would cover that with mud and stucco over it. And the idea is that the thermal energy would be generated from the tires into the atmosphere of the home. And it would keep the home at a constant temperature. I can't remember if it was like 63 degrees. It was probably 70 something degrees, something in that area. So meaning you would naturally have a heating and cooling system. And then in order to circulate air, he had domers, like those windows, and y'all know, all my baby boomers, y'all remember those homes that had them domer windows where you had to open it up with this stick thingy that was at the top. And so he had those in the home, has them in the home, and it circulates the air. Okay, so you can control the temperature as well. All right, and the way he built the home is for the home to get south-facing light. Okay, so I think if you, depending on where you're at in the United States, whatever part gets the most sunlight, that's the part that you build the front of the home, and you can harness that energy also to have a built-in greenhouse as well at the front of the home. Okay. Very, very interesting concept. He even used radiant heating in the floor to harness energy as well. Okay. So he used garbage, so meaning bottles, used bottles, used cans to create like foundational walls. And I don't know, some people may not think the homes are pretty. I just thought it was so cool the way he put it together. But nonetheless, this home is totally sustainable. So meaning from food perspective, from heating and cooling, even down to the water. He built a system where it can capture rainwater, purify that water. very, very interesting concept, and he's been doing it since the 70s. And they actually have a community out in the desert. And I looked at those homes. Now they expensive as heck, honey. But they're called Earthship Homes. So once I started reading with Tesla with this radiant energy, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, so dude pretty much took this concept. Now I don't know if he knew that's where he was getting the concept from, and the guy is still alive, and he's still consulting on projects to build those Earthship homes. All right, so let's get back to it, where Tesla said he was the first to identify radiant energy. Tesla says that the source of this energy is our sun. He concluded that the sun emits small particles, each carrying so small of a charge that they move with great velocity, exceeding that of light. Tesla further states that these particles are neutron particles. Tesla believed that these neutron particles were responsible for all radioactive reactions. Radiant matter is in tune with these neutron particles. Radiant matter is simply a retransmitter of energy from one state to the other. So let's look at real quick what the sun really is. I know I went over this in the last video. We're going to go over it again. Okay, see now I done had my pictures together. Oh boy, wait a minute, family. Now I got to re-pull my pictures. I'll be right back. Okay, let's get this started. So, those of you that rock with me, I know, as I said, I know you're tired of seeing this, but you should know this by now. Okay, when you see this symbolism, this resembles what folk are calling the black sun, especially these spooky parts right here. This is also where the concept of the Nazi swastika, that's what I was trying to say, swastika comes from, okay? Right? This black sun, which folks are saying is esoteric, and folks talk about it's a black sun underneath the earth, and it's mystical, and it powers Mount Meru, this, that, and the third, and it's another civilization under there. What they are really describing is really technology, family, of an electromagnetic coil. Okay, that's what they're describing. So this particular picture from the and you all, I highly encourage you to check out the Lost History, Iranon. I think he did an excellent job, if he put this together, of explaining how what they're calling the black sun correlates to the zodiac signs. Okay, all right, so I'm going to keep going because I went into the last video how even in the book of Enoch, he's describing when he talks about the different gateways of the sun and the moon, he's actually showing you each one of the electromagnetic coils that power the sun / the moon. That's what he's really describing to you. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, pause. Come on. Pause. Okay, so this is the atmosphere, and we're going to get into a later podcast in this series. We're going to talk about the atmosphere, but he's showing you the different layers of the atmosphere and the applicable altitude. Okay, so he's showing you how far the planes go, which, as you can see, it's relatively low in the grand scheme of things. And then once we get into the atmosphere podcast, we'll go over these other layers. Okay. All right. So in the layers of the atmosphere, it is related to the different gases in the atmosphere. So bear with me. I'm going to get how this relates to the sun. But when Tesla talks about getting energy from the sun, I want you to totally understand what that means, because now we know what it means. Okay, although even now they're just saying, oh yeah, we can use the sun to power things like solar panels. I mean, I even have in my front yard my little garden lights that they're being lit by the sun. Okay, but in the grand scheme of things, I want you all to truly understand what that means. Okay, so these are the different atmosphere gases. Okay, come on. All right, so ciao again. I wish they would have taught this properly up in the schools, would have made it interesting. But they didn't. So here's from the periodic tables, the different gases, which represents the atmosphere. Okay. All right. Okay. So the layer of noble gases in the ionosphere or the atmosphere. Okay. As you can see, the sun forms at the helium and neon level, and the moon forms at the krypton level, and plasma is at the argon level. So again, these represent the noble gases in the ionosphere. Okay, or if you want to say atmosphere, one and the same. Now, those of you that are into the Bible, and if you're familiar with Enoch, when Enoch talks about he was going through the different houses and he was describing the different lights, he was describing the ionosphere. He was describing the ionosphere. Okay? Okay, so let's go on. All right, pause. So, down here is the electromagnetic coil. This is the source energy. So, imagine this is Earth. Okay? An enclosed system, so i.e. meaning a dome. Okay, imagine this is what we're calling the known world. So the ideology here, and whether or not you believe that, that's on you. But as far as the science, it still reigns true. So even if you don't want to believe that the world is bigger than what they are telling us, which that's what this represents. Okay, and then this is where we are. That's on you. I'm not here to try to convince you otherwise. I want you to focus on this electromagnetic coil, i.e. the black sun, and how it interacts with the ionosphere or the noble gases. Okay? All right, so this is the electromagnetic coil, which is the black sun. It is emitting through a opening, and this is where some say that Mount Meru is over there in Antarctica. Okay? All right, so let's keep going. All right, so you saw the electromagnetic coil down there. It is emitting electromagnetism into the ionosphere, and that ionosphere has the different noble gases, and the sun is created via the electromagnetism and the interaction with the ionosphere noble gases of helium Helium and I think it was neon, if I'm not mistaken. Helium and neon is what the reflection, or they call it refracted light, creates what we're calling the sun. Okay? Same thing, that electromagnetic coil, i.e. black sun, shooting up electromagnetic energy into the ionosphere, which is made up of the different noble gases, so that electromagnetic refracted light creates the reflection called moon and the krypton noble gases. Okay? So I'm going over this because when we talk about we can get energy from the sun, I want us to be very clear. Even how the sun itself is generated and what we are calling the moon. Okay? Right. So, So in here, they're just showing that the atmosphere itself is really electric, where you have a positive, I'm assuming that's the sun side, and negative energy within the atmosphere. Okay? Or if you want to say ionosphere. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, yep, that's it. All right, so let me go back to Tesla. All right, so hopefully, and I know I keep showing that, but I am showing it for a reason so you can truly get the total picture. Right, so Tesla was talking about using the radiant matter, or the particles, or the neutron particles, to generate energy. Stick an antenna up in the air, the higher the better, and wire it to one side of a capacitor, the other going to a good earth ground. And the potential difference will then charge the capacitor. Connect across the capacitor some sort of switching device so that it can be discharged at rhythmic intervals, and you have an oscillating electric output. Child, let me just sip my little water. Sip, 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 sippity, sip, sippity. Do y'all understand how simple that is to create free energy? Stick an antenna up in the air, the higher the better, and wire it to one side of the capacitor, the other going to a good earth ground, and the potential difference will then charge the capacitor. Connect across the capacitor some sort of switching device so that it can be discharged at rhythmic intervals, and you have an oscillating electric output. Okay, so here is the mapped out spec, and this is from the patent. And child, I didn't even know this stuff was patented back up in 1905, baby. So we know he had to experiment on all of this. So let's give him the late 1800s. Blood had experimented on all of this, that, and the third. He patented in 1905. So you trying to sit up here and tell me that we had the blueprint to free energy since 1905? And I'm here to tell you this technology goes back further than that. And I'm going to show some examples from some old pictures to show that. But in the meantime, let's do a quick vid. Let me see, of a man who real quick recreated this. All right. I think we're going to do 2 quick videos to show folks that recreated this. All right. So those of you that mess around with the babies on different science experiments, this one will require a little bit more due diligence to make sure that you're not going to electrocute yourself or the babies. But if you are good with electric stuff, this would be a great experiment to do for yourself and with the babies. Okay. All right. So, yep, this is what I want to show y'all first. So this is from Robert Murray Smith. Swag as a Tesla's radiant energy collector. Right? So let me do this real quick.
Hi, so this is bizarre. It was an idea put into my head by Michael Meadows in a brief comment that he made in a previous video, and it just goes to show how brief comments can spark off the most amazing things. Now, there are some bizarre things that happen in this video, or at least bizarre as far as I'm concerned, and it's all about radiant energy. Now, have a quick look at this.
All right, hold on, fam. I don't know why this want to be so low. No, it shouldn't be low. I don't know why it's low all of a sudden. All right.
That's Tesla's radiant energy collection system, and I'm going to set up these swag plates in exactly the same way. So you remember the swag plates, they were just 2 strips of copper with the conductive ink painted on a bit of plastic, and I built a whole load of them into an array of.
All right, let me try to fix the sound. It shouldn't be this low. This is interesting. Okay, yep, it should not be this low. Yep, it should not be this low.
10 to do the swag generator.
Fam, it's always something. Hold on. All right, there we go. Not sure what happened with the audio. Here we go, family.
Hi, so this is bizarre. It was an idea put into my head by Michael Meadows in a brief comment that he made in a previous video, and it just goes to show how brief comments can spark off the most amazing things. Now, there are some bizarre things that happen in this video, or at least bizarre as far as I'm concerned, and it's all about radiant energy. Now, have a quick look at this. That's Tesla's radiant energy collection system, and I'm going to set up these swag plates in exactly the same way. So you remember the swag plates, they were just 2 strips of copper with the conductive ink painted on a bit of plastic, and I built a whole load of them into an array of 10 to do the swag generator. Then Michael Works means that, hey, set it up like the radiant energy generator that you've just seen. So here I've got a piece of wire, and that's just connected to my water pipe, my copper water pipe as an earth. And if I connect it to there. Now, I've left my resistance probe on there. That's we use this to measure square resistance. But obviously it's 2 plates separated by dielectric, so it is in fact a capacitor. So what we've got is an earth going through to one side of a capacitor, which goes through to here. Then the other side of the capacitor is connected by a single wire to the swag collection plate system. So that's operating as my radiant energy plate collector. So the whole thing is pretty simple setup, and it's set up like this. We've got our swag plates, we're going to one side of the capacitor, taking the other side of the capacitor, and we're taking that to earth. We're taking our reading across those 2 points, and it's set at AC. Now, that looks exactly the same as the drawing that Tesla's got. The only thing he does is he's got a spark gap across that point there. And I've put the voltmeter here, and the actual reading on the voltmeter is in volts. So you're seeing 0.8756 volts at the moment is what it's reading, and it's on AC. If I put it on DC, I get nothing. If I put it on AC, then I get this reading, and that makes sense, obviously. Now, some really curious things happen. I'm wearing gloves, because if I touch it, look at that, it jumps up, even through the insulation.
Okay, so I just want to point out that when he touches it, the voltage jumps up. So real quick, he's going to show you, and he had the little rubber gloves on. So watch what it does when he takes the gloves off.
Installation of the rubber. I take the rubber gloves off and I touch it with my hand. It jumps up even further. That's really quite wild. So let's put the rubber gloves.
So when he takes the gloves off and he puts his hands on it, it jumps up even more. So meaning even his own energy is able to create voltage. Okay? So, which proves the point that your own natural energy, what folks are calling your Merkaba, what folks are calling your chakras, and how you emit colors based on the frequency, is what color you generate via that chakra system. It's all still electric. So, meaning you are also within your own being a source of energy. Okay? So, that's that whole concept. When folks transition or they pass on from the physical body, they are still energy. Okay? So same concept. So I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was cool of him to do that. So here we go.
Back on, because clearly I'm having an effect. So obviously what I think is having the effect is that I'm acting as a capacitor. So I'm adding capacitance to that system, and I think that's what's having the effect. However, if I hold the thing up, and not very high either, look how that thing jumps up. And equally, if I put it on the floor, it shoots right down. So let's put it back on the table. My table's obviously got a glass top, so it's insulated. And we're getting over a volt there. I keep staring at the meter because I can see it through the camera. I don't know what's going on, and I think that's absolutely fascinating. So maybe this is a radiant energy collection system. It's certainly a very interesting set of results, which is obviously why I'm sharing them with you. So there we go, the swag generator plate. And remember, the swag generator plate is nothing more than this. It's the conductive ink painted across two copper strips. Looks like it's acting like Tesla's radiant energy generator. Now, isn't that wild? Now, I've got no idea what's going on. I just thought that was super interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. Maybe it is a radiant energy generator. If anybody's got any ideas about what's happening, because I don't, then please feel free to comment and write to me. I'd love to hear what you think. Anyway, I'm just reporting back because I thought that was fascinating, and I hope you do too. And thank you very much for watching.
All right, family. So again, this video, and we could talk about what's happening, although we already read through it. This is from Robert Murray Smith, swag as a Tesla radiant energy collector. Okay, so it was pretty obvious based on what we went through of how the electromagnetic energy works in the ionosphere, i.e., the atmosphere. Energy is naturally there. Okay? But now we should know where that natural energy is coming from. Hence, it is coming from what folk call the black sun. Okay, let's bring this back up. What folk are calling the black sun. And I'll fast forward this a little bit more, refresh our memory. These electromagnetic coils. So in his experiment, when he was talking about, he was able to put the grounded on the ground. If the electromagnetic coil is on the ground or underneath the ground, it would make sense why you can pick up energy from underground. And it would also make sense why you could pick up energy in the atmosphere or the ionosphere, because remember, the electromagnetic coil, i.e. the black sun underground, shoots up the electromagnetism energy in the ionosphere, which makes sense that when he raised up his capacitor, it also picked up the energy. Okay, So that's what he was really demonstrating to you. What he did was just take a Tesla's blueprint, and he just kind of did a mini of what Tesla spec'd out. But this is the source of what Tesla is saying in his invention. You can pull energy from the ground, radiant energy, and pull it from the atmosphere, right? But I just wanted you all to understand where that was coming from, all right? Okay. So let's, how do I get out of this? Go to another video. This one, the babies might be interested in this one. Free atmosphere electricity power small motor. Tesla radiant energy. This is from the YouTube channel Laser Saber. All right. So I can't remember if we're gonna go through the whole 8 minutes of it. Okay, so let's give this one a try, family. The babies are gonna like this one.
It's going to demonstrate the capturing of atmospheric electricity. And this is a small electrostatic motor, and I came across this motor in the book Homemade Lightning, and it showed a motor design from 1924, Popular Electrics. And it looked so simple, and I thought, could it really be that simple, folks? So I decided to do a test, and what I've got here is I've got this side will come over here to this 28 gauge copper wire. I'm going to run that up in the air in the hexacopter, and this side over here is grounded. And I'll provide links at laserhacker.com and in the description of this video so you can learn about this. Go to Wikipedia and read up on atmospheric electricity. There's more to it than first meets the eye. It's not just from the wind creating a static effect on the wire. This is really quite the effect. And there's been some patents in the past from Germans and others claiming, you know, up to 1,000 watts of useful power. And I really want to get into researching some of this. Now, there's obvious dangers involved in this kind of thing. Anytime you run up a...
So I want you all to keep in mind when at the bottom it was talking about 2,000 watts with an antenna. Okay, because we're going to get into how we know for sure that they were using this technology way back when. All right. So sorry, let me let this continue.
Now there's obvious dangers involved in this kind of thing. Anytime you run up a copper wire into the sky, you've got a Benjamin Franklin type situation going on. So there's obvious dangers, and all the precautions and proper training should be utilized in doing an experiment like this. Okay, so we've got the hexacopter up there in the air, and it's only up in the air about 100 feet. And coming down here to the atmospheric electricity motor, you can see that it's rotating. All right, so that's the motor, just as printed in Popular Electrics from 1924. And it said this contrivance would amuse the young electrician. And I'm telling you, it's doing its job, folks. I am more than amused by this. And it actually is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, so. Very, very cool. So very simple. We've got one side grounded on the copper rod. We got the little electrostatic motor, and this side going up about 100 feet to the hexacopter. Okay, I want to give a quick book review on 3 books that I picked up from Amazon. You can buy these 3 books in a set for $50. The first book is Electrostatic Motors by Oleg Jefemenko. Now, I've read some of this guy's work scattered around the internet, but I went ahead and bought the book so I could get all of the work in one place, and I'm really glad I did. This is a treasure trove of information on electrostatic motors as well as atmospheric electricity. You can see there's a lot of cool diagrams, a lot of cool drawings, motors. This motor here generated 0.1 horsepower, which for an electrostatic motor is actually quite a lot of power. And he goes on to to say that this motor operates from a 6,000 volt power supply as well as from an earth field antenna. On the next page, he shows this little motor here that they were able to operate from a 20-foot pole. It said they tried to do it in front of the physics building, West Virginia University, and in front of the building it would not run there, but out in the parking lot it ran very well. So to run a motor like that on a 20-foot pole is really quite the accomplishment. Let me just go ahead and flip through some of this book. You can see that it's just got pretty much every electrostatic motor ever created documented in this book. And toward the end, he goes into some more information on atmospheric electricity. You can see the antenna here and the motor and the ground. Very interesting stuff. There's even a section in the back on how to build your own motors here. And I think this is some excerpts out of a Popular Science or Popular Mechanics. But just really interesting information. I'll just share a couple of things here from the very back. He has a section on the Earth's electric.
Okay, so I'm not going to go through that. I just wanted to share with you all that there were actually books created on this particular technology. So bottom line is, family, there is no such thing as scarcity regarding energy. So I wanted to share that information on the books with you all. I encourage you to, you can go and look at this entire video. It's called Free Atmospheric Electricity Power Small Motor, Tesla's Radiant Energy. And this is off the YouTube channel Laser Saber. Okay, so very, very cool experiment with doing what they say is simple. I'm not far from being an electrician. I would have to read that book and really, really practice and get with somebody who is. But he was really relatively easy able to recreate Tesla's radiant energy model. And he powered up a drone. That's way cool. I mean, literally just by using the energy from the ground, i.e. now you should know where that energy from the ground comes from. It comes from the electromagnetic coil, i.e. black sun. Okay. And then they also had a mini antenna in the air. So using that same electromagnetic energy that's in the atmosphere, and they were able to power the drone. Okay. All right. So let's see. So I did want to go over those two examples. All right. So that's pretty much those two experiments we went over. They literally took this part out of Tesla's patent and were able to run those experiments. Okay. So the first dude was just showing you how he was able to get voltage. The second dude literally put that voltage to use with a device. Okay. All right. And as you can see, here are the actual two patents, fam. One was in 1905. We just gonna jump to it real quick. This literally came from the United States Patent Office. Okay. The other one was from, oh, come on, don't do me like that. Don't lose my place. Don't lose my place. The other one was from 1901. The apparatus. Okay. And so that's what the first man from the experiment was showing us diagrams from this particular patent. Okay. All right. So Tesla's X-ray tube, part of his method for utilizing radiant energy, which operated from the top of Tesla's coil, providing a means to charge the elevated insulated body of capacitance. All right, so I don't know if I'm not going to get all into this specific-y. Okay, whenever Child, that go my neighbor and them chickens. I'm telling you, me and them chickens, he bet not be up on my front porch or the rooster. But anyway, whenever the circuit is closed, owing to the rotation of the terminal T, the stored energy is discharged. All right. So this is method of utilizing radiant energy. It is well known that certain radiations, such as those of ultraviolet light. Okay, so ultraviolet light, think about those atmosphere or ionosphere. So those lights that we see in the sky, you know, those pretty color lights. All right, but let's keep going. Or like possesses the property of charging and discharging conductors of electricity, the discharge being particularly noticeable when the conductor upon which the rays impinge is negatively electrified. Okay, and so remember that diagram. Let me go back to this. Let me see. Okay, remember this, showing that in the atmosphere or the ionosphere, there exists with the sun positive charge, with the moon negative charge. Okay. Oh. All right. My own experiments and observations, however, led me to conclusions more in accord with the theory heretofore advanced by me that sourced of such radiant energy throw off with great velocity minute particles of matter which are strongly electrified and therefore capable of charging an electrical conductor, or even if not so, may at any rate discharge an electrified conductor either by carrying off bodily its charge or otherwise. When rays or radiation of the above kind are permitted to fall upon an insulated conducting body connected to one of the terminals or of a condenser, while the other terminal of the same is made by independent means to receive or carry away electricity, a current flow into the condenser so long as the insulated body is exposed to the rays and under the conditions hereinafter specified, an indefinite accumulation of electric energy in the condenser takes place. This energy, after a suitable time interval during which the rays allow to act, may manifest itself in a powerful discharge, which may utilize for the operation or control of the mechanical or electrical device, or rendering useful in many other ways. All right, so I'm not going to go through all of that. I'm just going to just put it in plain, straight up English. Again, you can pull the energy, what Tesla is talking about, radiant energy, from the ground. But now we should know that ground energy is coming from the electromagnetic coil, i.e. the black sun. Okay? So you can pull the energy from there, and then also pull it from the atmosphere, i.e. antennas. Okay, and you have condensers to capture that stuff and disperse it, or capacitors. Which one do the dispersing, child? I can't remember, but y'all get the gist. The gist of the invention is this is all pulled from quote natural energy. All right. Now he patented this in 1901 and 1905. But fam, this is nothing new. They were using this concept prior to even the invention of what they called electricity. Let's take a look. We're going to go over, let me blow this up. Gonna go over, fam. Look at some of these old buildings. Now, I think this is a drawing of the DC Capitol back up in the day. All right. So when you see these domes and how these domes were like copper, or the top of them were copper, these are energy capture devices, fam. Okay. All right. Let's see. I got to get ready to pause. Remember when they were talking about, Tesla was saying, using antennas, and in the one experiment with the drone, the gentleman had the copper pipe, or it was a metal pipe. I know they had copper attached to that pipe, but that pipe was grounded in the ground, and then as the pipe stuck up out the ground, that was equivalent to an antenna. Okay. Now, is this the London Bridge? Child, don't start me the line. This is up in England. But the point I'm trying to show y'all, let's see if I can get this bigger. You see the antennas, family? You see all of these antennas? So they were using this technology way back when. They were using it way back then, family. So let's continue. Same concept. This is a drawing of a old American home. These are antennas on top of this house. They were harnessing the Tesla notion of radiant energy. This was before Tesla, okay? Although this is a drawing, it is depicting in this drawing that energy, harnessing energy from the atmosphere or the ionosphere, right? So just like the man in that first experiment, he had copper wire, that copper wire with that flat device he had with the little copper thingies on it. He had that on the ground. And then he lifted up in the air his other device, which was working as an antenna. And the higher he lifted it up in the air, the more voltage came out. Okay. So same concept with the antennas. All right, let's keep going. Okay. All right. So this, I guess this was back up in the it had to be early 1900s because you see the cars, but I pulled this picture to just once again show you, but the building is older than that. But just to show you again, you see this particular building with this dome, okay? And then you see the antenna in the air, all right? Okay, so that was that Capitol drawing picture that I showed earlier. This is an actual picture of it. Okay, so you clearly, family, you clearly see the little antennas there. And then you see the actually 3 domes. Okay, so I'm assuming these domes are like housing the energy. So the antennas are pulling the energy. The domes are probably housing them and dispersing the energy. Okay. All right, let's keep going. All right, so, dang, I can't remember where this was from, y'all. Okay, but I'm just trying to show again how you gonna have, I gotta be country now. How you gonna have horse and buggy, but I see energy, electric devices, poles, so I'm confused. I see street lights here, but yet people are in horse and carriage. Oh, okay then. So what's these big towers and these wires? What's that powering? Okay, then. All right, let's see here. Boom. This is in Russia. Okay, and we see a lot of these old buildings. A lot of them. Now, again, family, you see these horse and carriage. But again, I see electrical lines. See the electric poles, electrical lines. And then look at the top of these buildings. Okay? You see their little domes. One dome, and this looks just like that cap. Don't this look just like the dome in the U.S. Capitol? Only difference is instead of having another round dome, they got this one that looked like a Hershey Kiss drop. But at the top of it is an antenna. And it looks like to me that they even have wires running across all of that. Okay? But you see each one of these buildings have antennas. Okay? And then you see here's the antennas down here. So that's the grounding device that's harnessing the energy from the earth, i.e. the black sun, i.e. the electromagnetic coil. And I'm sure running up underground is somehow connecting, but then they're also harnessing it from the atmosphere, just like they showed in those experiments. So this is in Russia back up in the day, but yet you got people on horse and buggies. Okay? This is also kind of proving the mud flood communities points that there had to be some sort of reset. Because how you gonna show me clearly electricity? I mean, this is clearly electricity, but you got horse and carry buggies? So either this is a stage picture or it was some sort of reset went on and these particular devices, these electric devices, were left over before they tore it down. Now, I'm not sure if these structures still stand in Russia today. It would be interesting to know if they still stand in Russia today. Okay, let's see what else. I think that's it. Okay, and I forget which city this is. And I just wanted you to see, again, you see the horse and buggies. But you look on top of these buildings, you see antennas. Each one of these buildings, antenna, brick. We're going to talk about the brick in a minute. Antenna, brick. Antenna, back there, antenna, down there, antennas. But yet, you're showing me horse and buggy. Okay, then. But then here and on the right-hand side, you see this is some type of lamp. Yeah, really now? Okay, then there's another street lamp. Oh, okay then. So clearly they had electricity. Okay. All right, let's see what else. I think this might be the last pick. I could be. Okay, yep, that's the last of that pick. All right, let me come out of this. Sorry, fam. Come on. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to go over. I just wanted to share one more concept with you all, that in addition to radiant energy, as far as taking energy from the ground, i.e. the electromagnetic coil, i.e. the black sun, and also pulling that same energy in the ionosphere/atmosphere to create natural free energy via antennas. You can use that concept from bricks. Yes, family, from bricks. Yeah, bricks. So remember back in the day, and heck, some states now in some cities, I have to go on the city level, not state level, and counties are starting to either repave their cities with brick streets, or they are tearing up the asphalt and revealing the original bricks. Or remember those original paved brick streets? Okay, which I always thought were prettier. I always thought they were absolutely prettier. I never understood why they covered them with that ugly asphalt. Well, bricks, and actually red bricks in particular, are a conductor of energy. Okay, so meaning if you have paved bricks on the streets, we should now understand how they're pulling the energy. They're pulling it from the electromagnetic coil, i.e. black sun. All right, so let's look at a quick vid regarding the use of bricks. So this video is titled, Researchers Store Energy in Red Bricks Using Nanofibers. And this is by Steel Guru Business News, okay? All right, so let's do this real quick.
According to new research from Washington University in St. Louis, red bricks can be converted into energy storage units that can be charged to hold electricity, like a battery. Brick has been used in walls and buildings for thousands of years, but rarely has been found fit for any other use. Now, chemists in arts and sciences have developed a method to make or modify smart bricks that can store energy until required for powering devices. While some architects and designers have recognized the humble brick's ability to absorb and store the sun's heat, this is the first time anyone has tried using bricks as anything more than thermal mass for heating and cooling.
Okay, so when I talked about earlier, those Earthship Homes and blood was using the tires, stuff with dirt from the earth for thermal energy. He just mentioned the same concept of folks using brick for that. Those are called Earthship Homes, and the dude that created those Earthship Homes are Michael Reynolds, okay? But I just wanted to bring that fast forward for you all to, number one, give you the information, and then number two, to let you know that he pointed out that bricks were used for thousands of years. There was a double purpose for using bricks, and specifically red bricks. Of course, the first purpose was to build a structure, but the second thing was to conduct energy. All right, so let's continue.
The red pigment in bricks, iron oxide, or rust, is essential for triggering the polymerization reaction. The author's calculations suggest that walls made of these energy-storing bricks could store a substantial amount of energy. A common material makes an ideal and inexpensive starting point for chemical synthesis. A study published August 7 in Advanced Functional Materials highlights new methods developed by Darcy and collaborators at Washington University's Institute of Materials Science and Engineering. Assistant Professor of Chemistry Julio Darcy and colleagues, including Washington University graduate student Hongmin Wang, first author of the new study, showed how to convert red bricks into a type of energy storage device called a supercapacitor. Darcy said, our method works with regular brick or recycled bricks, and we can make our own bricks as well. As a matter of fact, The work that we have published in Nature Communications stems from bricks that we bought at Home Depot right here in Brentwood in Missouri. In this work, we have developed a coating of the conducting polymer PDOT, which is comprised of nanofibers that penetrate the inner porous network of a brick. A polymer coating remains trapped in a brick and serves as an iron sponge that stores and conducts electricity. Darcy said, "We envision that this could be a reality when you connect our bricks with solar cells. This could take 50 bricks in close proximity to the load. These 50 bricks would enable powering emergency lighting for 5 hours. Advantageously, a brick wall serving as a supercapacitor can be recharged hundreds of thousands of times within an hour. If you connect a couple of bricks, microelectronics sensors would be easily powered."
All right. Okay. So, again, this is from the YouTube site Steel Guru Business News, and this video is researchers store energy in red bricks using nanofibers. Okay, so just pulled a few little pictures to just show you how back up in the day these old structures were taking advantage of stones, bricks, and I'm assuming also to conduct energy. Okay, here's just yet another example, and you can see in this particular picture, they have primarily red bricks. Okay, so they had the cobblestone, I think that's what they called them back in the day, cobblestone, brick streets, and then this building is also brick, red brick. Okay, so it was about more than just building a structure and paving roads. So you really have to ask yourself, it was more than about putting asphalt over these paved roads. It's about covering up the technology that was no longer used, the natural technology that was used from what Tesla rebranded and put a patent on called radiant energy. Okay. All right. So again, the main source of this information was Tesla Research, the website teslaresearch.jimdofree.com. And this particular one is Tesla's radiant energy. So thank you so much, family, for joining us on this. We will come back with the part 4 of this particular series, Old World Tech Hidden in Plain Sight. This is Rhonda with WTUZ Radio Podcast. I wish everyone well on this Wednesday. Peace and love, family.